Got a couple stories here from thatparkplace.com. First up, newly announced Harry Potter TV writer Andy Greenwald does not like the idea of a rigorous adaptation of the books and says he has not read the books. He hasn't finished them, to be more precise. One of the newly announced writers for Max's upcoming Harry Potter TV series, all of his previous writer credits. Yeah. On his podcast, The Watch, back in February, he's asked if it would be possible to directly adapt J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter novels to television. He initially bluntly responded yes. And they went on and talked about it'd be a safe bet, it'd be a success. But then, he talked about might be good to, you can't change things up and all this stuff. I don't know, Said you can monetize almost every single aspect of it, and they have. But then, something that's trumpeting its absolute rock steady faithfulness. I think the pleasures that can be derived from that are probably not going to be for me because I didn't read all the books. I read them to my older daughter until she could read them for herself. Then she dusted me, And then he talks about J.K. Rowling controls all of it. And blah, blah, blah. Anytime somebody involved, a writer especially, a creative, it's one thing for an actor to say, well, I didn't finish reading all the books. I don't like a truly faithful adaptation. It'd still be stupid, but they're not in charge of the actual words. They're just, parodying them, essentially. But for a writer or for a showrunner or, even an executive producer or whatever, anyone who's possibly in charge of creating or designing the show and how it's going to be and stuff, this is terrible news. I'm not sure how many Harry Potter fans were excited about this TV series because, it's not going to be the same. They even mentioned here the biggest one was a recent casting call for the three main characters, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. It's basically when they talked about that we were going to have all, it's open to all genders and races and blah, 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 sexual orientation, all that bullshit. And which, number one, I remember that's all that is further confirmation of like a year, maybe 2 years ago, they were talking like this, that it's going to be open to everybody. So everyone starts betting about who's it going to be. Because some people are like, well, Hermione is going to be changed because they've done that before in like stage plays and stuff and everything. Then it's like, well, Ron's a redhead. They got to change him. Redhead race swap. You know how that goes. And other people are like, well, Harry, it'd be bigger if it was a person of color, or some young girl or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Like, horse shit. Casting calls not surprising in modern Hollywood. As all major Hollywood production companies have publicly stated quotas in regards to their hiring practices. Even J.K. Rowling defended the decision to cast actress Noma Dumez-Winnie to play a race swap Hermione in a stage play. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm not, it's I understand it's a little different for like a play because they got to be able to sing and depending on the one, they got to be able to dance and so on and such forth. So I try to be a little more understanding. The only problem is that they would never do it the other way around. So that's my litmus test for race swaps or for any kind of these swaps. If it's only going one way, then it's terrible. If it goes both ways, okay, whatever. If they were doing a stage play of, Black Panther, and they ended up getting an Asian man to play the role, well, okay, like in a stage play or whatever, then I'd be like, okay, I'm more understanding. But if not, if you're going to freak out on me, then we ain't going to do any other race swapping. Sorry. But anyway, he goes on and talks about, that's from the official Warner Brothers stuff. Each season will be authentic to the original books and bring Harry Potter and these incredible adventures to new audiences around the world. How can it be authentic if it's not, if you're race swapping and all this kind of stuff? Like how they could, maybe they'll gender swap. It'll be Harry with an I. Potter, it's a girl, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, it goes on and on. I don't want to waste any more time. Second story, Max's Velma series will reportedly not get a third season. Well, there's a shock. For one, all these kinds of shows, they get a 2-season run at the beginning. Before they even air the show, it's got the second season's already approved because they'll usually make, like if it's an animated show, they'll make season 1 and 2 back to back. It's just cheaper that way, essentially. And then they'll cancel it. Netflix has done that numerous times with series, various other shows. We've seen it. Velma, first off, it's not a surprise. It gets shit ratings. Nobody cares about it. Just like that Masters of the Universe, that He-Man piece of shit show with Kevin Smith as the executive producer or whatever the hell he was called. I guarantee you that shit gets canceled. It might have been canceled already. I just ain't heard about it. I don't know. But it's like, so it's no surprise. I'm not even going to bother reading the article. I will link in the description box and read it for yourself. I'm not saying that you shouldn't read the article. It's just that there's not much to say and everything. It's just an artist on Max's Hollywood special for Velma claims that the show will not receive a third season. Blah blah blah. And whatever. It's like I don't. I mean, it's never a good thing when people lose their jobs, but at the same time, it's like Velma was a shit show. Was terrible. It was just absolute garbage. So I mean, and that's pretty universal. Even like the critics, who this shit's supposed to be for, they don't really care much for it. But anyway, I've already spent more time on this show or this story than I really should. Like I said, I'll link this in the description box and read it for yourself. No surprise. It's not going to get a third season. Doesn't deserve a third season. No one wants to watch a third season. Anyway, like I said, I'll link these in the description box so you can read them for yourself. Thank you very much for watching.